I remember being in the trunk and it just being completely lit up with the fire that was coming off of my body. Brandon got into the passenger seat and Virgil got in the back, and they said, "Let's ride," and we just took off riding. I just thought Virgil was a nice guy, just funny and fun to hang around with. You know, maybe into a little drinking and stuff, but not anything psycho or anything. It got quiet, and we were on a really dark road. And out of nowhere, Virgil grabbed Brandon by the throat and pulled him over the passenger seat into the back. I was hitting Virgil and pushing him. I didn't know what to do. I was just like, you know, I thought they were playing at first until he really pulled him completely over. Whenever I tried to drive again, he grabbed me by the hair of my head, and I don't remember his exact words, but it was basically, "No, you don't." He had me pull into the cemetery, and Brandon was wheezing, and it looked like he was unconscious. I didn't know if he was dying or anything, and I guess that's what triggered me to jump out of the car and take off running. And that's when he caught me, and he started punching me in the face and the head. My ex-boyfriend told him to do whatever he wanted with me, but to leave him out of it. I thought he might help me, you know. I figured, you know, he's a pretty big guy. I'm his ex-girlfriend. We're good friends. Why would you let somebody hurt me? And I just lost everything right then. I knew that there was no help. And I was either gonna have to fight back or just take it. Then he said, "Brandon," he pointed at him, and he's like, "Get in the trunk." And he cowardly ducked his head and said, "Fine," and got in, and he closed the trunk. We were on the top of a pretty good-sized hill of the cemetery. As he was taking me down the hill, he stopped and he told me to take off my clothes. And I'm just thinking the whole time that this isn't happening to me. I was just looking around, trying to figure out, if I run, where can I run to? Is there any way that I can get away? And all I could think of was, if I take off running, he's gonna knock me down and bust my head on one of the headstones. He took me around to the back of the car, and he knocked on the trunk to see if my ex-boyfriend was still in there, and there was no answer. Then he said, "Do you think that he's asleep, or do you think that he's dead?" As frantic as I was just, "He's asleep. He has to be asleep. He can't be dead. He has to be asleep." As I was pleading with him, my words were, "I have no idea what's going on. I don't know anything about you. I don't know anything about your personal life. I don't know anything about your family." I kept trying to instill in his mind that I was absolutely in the dark and I had no clue, and to please at least tell me what I'd done. He never gave me any reason as to why it was happening, except he felt as though he was being set up. He thought that I knew that he had drugs, or that I was going to get him into trouble. He beat me until I was unconscious quite a few times. He laid me down in front of the car and tried to run me over, but I came to quick enough to crawl out of the way, and it was like he couldn't do what he was trying to do. He was trying to get rid of me, and he couldn't. I was unconscious and I came to. I, he was above me and he was holding a screwdriver, and I knew I'd been stabbed because it had blood on it, and he was trying to find other places to where he could puncture me. And I had made the decision to play dead. I knew he was doing something and he was moving really fast, and I just kind of glanced over at my car, and he was wiping his fingerprints off of the steering wheel, the door handles, the trunk, everything. He was done with that, and I guess he decided that it wasn't good enough, that he had to finish off what he had started. He was still hitting me in the head, so I'm sure I blacked out a couple of times. And he was just, because the town is so small that I would know where we were anywhere he turned. He was going down roads and turning around, doing U-turns, and I don't know how I remember this, but I remember him backing my car into his driveway, and he came out with a gas can. He put me into the trunk, and that's when I realized that Brandon wasn't there. He poured gas on me, and that's when he lit the fire. He closed the trunk, and it was one big whoosh of fire. He knew I was alive then because I screamed. The whole time that I was on fire, he was pouring gas on the rest of my car. As I was on fire, I was holding onto the cord, waiting for my opportunity. It was my lifeline, and I was just waiting for any opportunity that I could to pull it. I heard out of nowhere there were tires on gravel behind my car, and I didn't know if it was help or I didn't know who it was. I heard a car door close and the car drive away, and as soon as I could tell the car was down the road, I pulled it and everything went black. I knew that I did it, I got help. It was kind of just like a sigh of relief when that trunk lid opened. I don't remember getting out. I don't remember putting the fire out. I just knew that he was gone and I had a chance to live. I started walking, and there was a truck that pulled up beside me. My car was on his property, and they saw the fire. And I said, I need an ambulance. So the only thing on my mind was, I can't breathe. I need help. I'm hurt. I survived because I watched a show with a lady who had gotten kidnapped, and she lived by getting out of her trunk with the emergency release. The fact that my clothes were wet, the fact that it was raining, really saved my life.